The Forgotten Orphan Army, Britain's Lost Boys of WWI. They were just children when the war stole their fathers, but no one expected they'd be sent to fight too. Some lied about their age, some were never asked, and by the time the truth surfaced, their graves were already dug. This is the forgotten story of Britain's child soldiers of World War I, a silent army boys as young as 12 who walked into the mud, bullets, and terror of the trenches, wearing boots too big for their feet and hope stitched into their collars. In August 1914, the war had just begun. The government called on able-bodied men. What they got were boys. The recruiting offices overflowed. The excitement was intoxicating. Posters promised glory. Uniforms meant dignity. And for many, home was already a battlefield. Orphans, runaways, street kids, desperate to matter. 14-year-old George Marr said he was 18. The sergeant didn't blink. He was sent to the Somme, and George wasn't alone. Estimates say over 250,000 underage boys enlisted in the British Army during WWI. Some were as young as 11. Why did no one stop it? Because Britain needed numbers, and paperwork could be flexible. In recruiting centers, desperate officers turned a blind eye. As long as you could carry a rifle and shout, "Yes, sir," you were in. In 1916, Horace Iles from Leeds, just 16, stood in the trenches of the Somme. His sister begged him not to enlist. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, it'll be over by Christmas." 3 months later, he was ordered to go over the top. He was one of the first to die. His body was never found. The truth was so brutal that when letters began pouring in from grieving mothers, Parliament could no longer ignore it. But still, the boys kept coming. They weren't trained like the others. They weren't hardened. They had soft hands and dreams of football. They held rifles that shook in their grip, and they learned to stop crying when their best friend was blown apart beside them. In the trenches, age didn't matter. Only survival did. And still, some lived. Sidney Lewis was just 12 when he joined the East Surrey Regiment. He fought in the Battle of the Somme, survived, and came home. When the military realized how young he was, they quietly discharged him. He went on to serve again in World War II. But there are thousands more whose stories ended in the mud, forgotten by time. There are no parades for them. No school books tell their tales. No medals were pinned to their mother's hands. Just cold stone markers. Some nameless, some misspelled, some still missing. We call them the Lost Boys. And their sacrifice wasn't just their lives. It was their childhood, their innocence, their chance to become men in a world without war. History books speak of generals and battles, but beneath every headline was a child who should have been in school, not shoulder to shoulder with death. Today, when we walk the fields of France or the cemeteries of Flanders, listen closely. The wind carries whispers not just of heroes, but of boys who never got to grow old. Let their memory disturb you. Let it move you. Because history isn't just facts. It's feelings, it's loss, it's the stories we dare not forget. And if this story found your heart, keep it alive. Leave a comment, share their names, and subscribe because their voices matter, and someone has to keep telling their truth.